The message came from the stars on an ordinary Tuesday morning. It appeared on screens at observatories across Earth at exactly the same moment. The strange symbols pulsed and shifted, clearly not random but following patterns that suggested intelligence. Dr. Hana Kim sat at her desk in Seoul's Planetary Communication Center, her eyes wide as the alien transmission filled her screen. As Earth's top expert in possible alien languages, she had spent 20 years preparing for this moment. Her hands trembled slightly as she began the decoding process. "Get me Director Ho on the line," she told her assistant. "Tell him it's happening." Within hours, Hana and her team had made the first breakthrough. The message contained mathematical sequences that formed a basic translation key. By midnight, they had decoded enough to understand the core message. By morning, they knew enough to be deeply troubled. Director Ho called an emergency meeting of the World Science Council. Representatives from 12 nations gathered in the glass-walled conference room as Hana presented her findings. "The message comes from a civilization that calls itself the Collective," she explained, her voice steady despite her lack of sleep. "They have been watching us for centuries. And now, they are warning us." "Warning us about what?" asked Dr. Moon, the representative from the European Union. Hana displayed the translated message on the large screen. "They are warning us not to venture beyond our solar system. They say humans are dangerously adaptive and unpredictably resilient. They claim our presence in the wider galaxy would be destabilizing." General Jun Lee of the United Space Force laughed. "They're afraid of us? We've barely managed to establish a base on Mars." "That's exactly what concerns them," Hana replied. "What has taken other species thousands of years to achieve, we've done in decades. Our rate of technological development frightens them." The room erupted in discussion. Some believed the message was a trick to keep humans confined, while aliens took valuable resources from nearby star systems. Others thought it might be a test of some kind. Within days, the message reached the public. News channels ran constant coverage. Religious leaders claimed it confirmed their beliefs. Conspiracy theorists had a field day. Protests formed outside Space Agency headquarters, some demanding humanity respect the warning, others insisting we prove them wrong. 1 week after the message arrived, the World Council gathered to make their official response. "We've spent billions on the Proxima Centauri colony ships," said Representative G from the East Asian Alliance. "They're ready to launch next month. Are we really going to cancel everything because of an alien message that might be a hoax, Doctor?" Hana Kim stood to address the council one final time. "I've studied this message for days now. It contains details about our biology and psychology that no human could have fabricated. This is genuine first contact, and they are genuinely concerned about us. I believe we should listen." The vote took less than an hour. By a margin of 28-7, the council decided to proceed with all planned missions beyond the solar system. Humanity would not be contained. 3 months later, Hana stood on the observation deck watching the massive colony ships prepare for departure. Each one carried 10,000 people, pioneers who would build humanity's first settlements among distant stars. "They'll regret this decision," said a voice behind her. She turned to see Professor Min, her old teacher from university. "Maybe," Hana replied, "but there's something the Collective doesn't understand about humans." "What's that?" "Telling us not to do something only makes us more determined to do it." The first colony ship, named Pioneer, lifted slowly from its dock. Its massive engines glowed blue against the night sky as 50,000 people watched from below. Hana felt a mix of pride and worry as the ship rose higher, carrying humanity's future into the stars despite the warnings. As the crowd cheered, Hana's assistant handed her a tablet. On the screen was a new transmission. The Collective had responded to Earth's decision. The message was short and clear. "You have been warned. The consequences of your actions will affect all species in this galaxy. We will be watching." Hana closed her eyes as the ship disappeared into the night sky. Whatever came next, humanity had made its choice. The warnings were ignored. Now they would have to prove they were truly unstoppable. 50 years had passed since humanity ignored the warnings. The colony ships had reached their destinations, and humans now lived on worlds circling 3 different stars. Earth had changed too. New technology developed for space travel had made life better for everyone. People lived longer and healthier lives, and the old conflicts between nations had mostly ended as humanity looked to the stars. Admiral June Kim stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Ship Protector, watching the stars through the main viewport. He was the grandson of Dr. Hana Kim, who had first decoded the warning message from the collective. His grandmother had died 10 years ago, but she had told him stories about that day all his life. "Admiral, we're picking up something strange," said Lieutenant Bo, the sensor officer. "Multiple objects entering the solar system. They're big, sir. Really big." June moved to the sensor station. The readings showed 7 massive ships moving toward Earth at incredible speed. Each one was bigger than any ship humans had ever built. "How long until they reach Earth?" he asked. 6 hours, sir." June called Earth Command immediately. "This is it," he told General Sun. "I think the collective has finally come to check on us." All across Earth and the colonies, people watched their screens as the alien ships approached. They were beautiful in a strange way, smooth silver shapes that seemed to flow rather than fly through space. The aliens sent a message asking for a meeting. They wanted to speak with Earth's leaders on their main ship. Ambassador Yoon Park was chosen to represent humanity. She was calm and smart, with 30 years of experience solving problems between Earth and the colonies. June would go with her as military protection. "Do you think they've come to punish us?" Yoon asked as their shuttle approached the massive alien ship. "If they wanted to destroy us, they could have done it already," June replied. "They want to talk, that's a good sign." The inside of the alien ship was filled with strange lights and sounds. The air smelled like flowers and metal. Their guides led them to a large room where 3 aliens waited. They looked nothing like humans. Their bodies were tall and thin, with 4 arms and skin that changed colors as they moved. Their faces had no mouths, but their thoughts appeared as words in the humans' minds. "We are the collective," said the tallest alien, its skin turning deep blue. "We have been watching your progress since you ignored our warning." Yoon stepped forward. "We come in peace. We wish to learn about your people and share knowledge. You have expanded faster than any species we have ever encountered," said another alien, its skin flashing yellow patterns. "What took our people thousands of years, you have done in decades." June realized the aliens were afraid, not of human weapons but of human speed. The aliens explained that the collective included 17 different species from across the galaxy. All of them had evolved slowly, taking thousands of years to develop new technology or adapt to new worlds. They lived long lives, some for hundreds of years, and made decisions carefully over decades. Humans, by comparison, seemed wild and unpredictable. They learned quickly, adapted to new situations in weeks instead of centuries, and spread across space with amazing speed. "We find your kind disturbing," said the third alien. "You change too quickly. It creates instability." Yoon tried to explain that humans meant no harm. "Our speed helps us survive. We want to be friends with the collective." The meeting lasted for hours. The aliens showed maps of the galaxy, pointing out territories where different species lived. They had been watching Earth for over 500 years, studying human development. As the meeting ended, the lead alien made their request clear. "We ask that you stop expanding beyond your current 3-star systems. The galaxy requires balance." Back on their shuttle, June looked troubled. "They're asking us to limit ourselves, to stop exploring, you know." Nodded. "They're afraid of change, and humans bring change wherever they go." Neither said what both were thinking. Humanity would never agree to stay confined. The warnings had been ignored once. Now the real test would begin. The talks between Earth and the collective broke down after 3 weeks. Human representatives refused to accept limits on their expansion, while the collective would not budge on their demands. The final meeting ended with tense words from both sides. 2 days later, the collective ships vanished from Earth orbit, without warning or goodbye. For a few days, people hoped they had simply gone home, accepting that humans would continue to explore the stars their own way. They were wrong. Captain Soo Kim was leading a scientific mission to a newly discovered planet when it happened. His ship, the Explorer, carried 30 scientists eager to study a world that showed signs of simple plant life. As they approached the edge of human space, something massive appeared in front of them. A collective blockade stretched across their path. Hundreds of ships, far larger than any human vessel, formed a wall in space. "Captain, they're hailing us," said the communications officer. The alien message was clear. "Return to your territory. No human ships may pass beyond this point," Sue called. Earth Command immediately. "They've quarantined us," he told Admiral June. "They've set up blockades at every exit point from our 3-star systems." Emergency meetings were held across human worlds. Leaders argued about what to do. Some wanted to respect the blockade and negotiate. Others refused to accept any limits on human freedom. Commander Day Park spoke passionately at the Earth Council meeting. "We came to space to explore, to learn, to grow. If we accept these limits now, we might as well go back to Earth and never leave again." 3 days later, Captain Soo received new orders. His mission would continue as planned. The Explorer would pass through the blockade for scientific purposes only. Earth Command hoped the collective would allow a peaceful research mission. Soo gathered his crew. "This won't be easy," he told them. "But our mission matters. We need to show the collective that humans can be trusted to explore responsibly." The Explorer approached the blockade slowly. Soo opened a channel to the alien ships. "This is Captain Soo Kim of Earth. We are a scientific vessel on a peaceful mission to study a new world. We ask permission to pass." The collective ships did not respond. Soo ordered the Explorer to continue forward at minimum speed. Perhaps they would be allowed through if they moved slowly and showed no aggressive actions. When they were just 5 kilometers from the blockade, a bright beam of energy shot out from the nearest collective ship. It struck the Explorer directly. The human ship never had a chance. It exploded in a ball of light, killing all 31 people aboard. The news reached Earth within hours. Shock turned quickly to anger. Across all human worlds, people demanded action. The collective had murdered scientists on a peaceful mission. This was an act of war. Admiral June Kim looked at the casualty list with tears in his eyes. Captain Soo had been his friend since childhood. Now he was gone, along with 30 brilliant scientists. "They didn't even warn them," June said to General Min. "They just fired." "The collective doesn't understand us," Min replied. "They think in centuries. To them, a warning 50 years ago is like telling us something yesterday." Earth Command ordered all available ships to defensive positions. 3 days later, human forces attacked the blockade at 6 different points. The battles were short and devastating for the human side. Collective weapons were far more powerful than anything humans had. Entire ships disappeared in flashes of strange energy. By the end of the first day of fighting, 43 human ships had been destroyed. Only 1 collective vessel showed any damage at all. Commander Day Park called the remaining military leaders to an emergency meeting on Mars. His face was grim as he looked around the room. "We cannot win this war with our current technology," he said. "The collective is centuries ahead of us." "Then we surrender?" asked Admiral Lee. "Accept their limits?" "No," Day replied. "We use the one advantage humans have always had. The one thing the collective fears about us." "What's that?" asked General Min. "Our unpredictability," Day said. "They follow patterns. They think methodically. But humans? We adapt. We improvise. We overcome." As the meeting continued into the night, reports came in of more battles, more losses. But on Mars, the human leaders began to form a plan that would change everything. The first months of the war were dark for humanity. The collective's ships destroyed human fleets with ease. Their weapons worked in ways Earth scientists couldn't understand. Their shields blocked everything humans fired at them. But in those defeats, humans found something valuable: information. Chief Engineer Jin Lee worked day and night in the hidden research base on Europa. Jupiter's moon. His team analyzed debris from collective ships and data from battle recordings. There's something strange about how they move, Jin told his team as they reviewed footage. Look at their ships. They always follow the same patterns, even when our ships do unexpected things. Jin noticed that collective ships avoided areas with unusual gravity patterns like the space around gas giants or asteroid fields. When human ships retreated into these areas, collective vessels would stop at the boundary rather than follow. After 3 months of study, Jin made a breakthrough. He called Admiral June and Commander Day to Europa to show them his discovery. Their technology requires stable, predictable space, Jin explained, pointing to his diagrams. Their ships and weapons use gravity fields in ways we never imagined, but that's their weakness too. They can't handle chaotic gravity environments. Jin's team had captured a small collective probe. By studying its systems, they learned that the aliens had developed technology that used the smooth flow of gravity through space. It gave them incredible power, but it also made them vulnerable to gravity disturbances. We can build devices that create unpredictable gravity waves, Jin said. It would be like throwing rocks into a calm pond. Their systems would fail in the ripples. Admiral June looked skeptical. How long would it take to develop these gravity disruptors? With all of Earth's resources? 6 months, Jin replied. The collective will have pushed deeper into our territory by then, Commander Day said. Then we buy time, June decided. We fight differently. Across human space, a new strategy emerged. Instead of direct battles, human ships began using hit-and-run attacks. They would appear from asteroid fields, strike quickly, and disappear, again before the collective could respond. On colony worlds, humans adapted in different ways. On Nova, the hottest human colony, people moved underground to survive temperatures that rose each year as the collective used weapons that affected the planet's atmosphere. On Frontier, where the collective had destroyed all power plants, colonists developed simple mechanical technology that couldn't be disabled by the aliens' energy-disrupting weapons. Jin's team worked without rest to develop the gravity disruptors. They reverse-engineered collective technology, combining it with human innovation. Where the collective had taken centuries to develop their systems, humans recreated and modified them in months. Meanwhile, a network of human spies formed, studying collective ships and finding patterns in their movements. Led by Agent Yuna, these brave men and women gathered critical information about the enemy. They're so predictable, Yuna reported after infiltrating a damaged collective vessel. They do the same things at the same times every day. They never change their security codes. They never expect the unexpected. 5 months into the war, the first prototype gravity disruptor was ready. It was installed on a small scout ship commanded by Captain Minho. His mission was simple but dangerous. Test the device against a collective patrol. Minho's ship approached a lone collective vessel near Saturn. When they were detected, the alien ship moved to intercept them, its weapons powering up. Activate the disruptor, Minho ordered. The device hummed to life. Space itself seemed to ripple around them. The effect on the collective ship was immediate and dramatic. It began to drift, its lights flickering, its weapons powered down. It's working, Minho reported to command. Their systems are failing completely. For the first time in the war, humans had disabled a collective ship without firing a single shot. The crew cheered as Minho called Europa. Tell Jin his device works perfectly, Minho said, and tell him to build thousands more. By the time 6 months had passed since the war began, humanity had transformed. What the collective had feared most about humans, their ability to adapt quickly, had become their greatest weapon. The tide of war was about to turn. The final battle began at Tau Ceti, a star system at the edge of human space. The collective had gathered their largest fleet, over 200 massive ships that formed a perfect battle line. They planned to push through human defenses and strike directly at Earth. Admiral Jun Kim commanded the Human Defense Force. His ships were smaller and fewer, but each one carried Jin's gravity disruptors. As the collective fleet approached, June felt a strange calm. This was the moment that would decide humanity's future. All ships activate disruptors on my mark, June ordered. Remember your training. Use the chaos to your advantage. As the two fleets came within range of each other, June gave the command. Across every human ship, gravity disruptors hummed to life. Space itself seemed to ripple between the opposing forces. The effect on the collective ships was immediate. Their perfect formation began to break apart. Some ships drifted sideways, their weapon systems failing. Others spun slowly, unable to maintain position. All ships advance, June ordered. Target their command vessels. Human ships moved forward confidently through the disturbed space. Their crews had trained for months to operate in these conditions. Where the collective relied on stable gravity fields, humans had learned to navigate the chaos they created. The battle lasted less than an hour. When it ended, 37 collective ships had been disabled or destroyed. The rest retreated in disorder. For the first time, humanity had won a major victory. News of the battle spread quickly across human space. On colony worlds that had suffered under collective attacks, people celebrated in the streets. Earth Command received an unexpected message. 3 of the smaller species in the collective wanted to open secret talks with humans. Ambassador Yoon Park, now in her 70s, met with representatives from these species on a neutral asteroid. They explained that not all members of the collective agreed with the war against humans. Your adaptability frightens the dominant species, said one alien. But some of us see it differently. We believe we could learn from humans, grow faster, become better. These secret allies shared vital information about collective weaknesses and battle plans. More importantly, they showed that humanity was not alone in the galaxy. 2 weeks after the Battle of Tau Ceti, the collective launched a massive attack on the human colony of Horizon. But humans were ready. Gravity disruptors hidden throughout the system activated as the alien ships approached. Collective weapons failed, and their ships drifted helplessly. The human counterattack was swift and decisive. Using tactics that changed constantly, human ships struck from unexpected angles. The collective, unable to predict human movements, could not coordinate their defense. After 3 days of fighting, the collective fleet retreated from Horizon in disarray. Similar battles played out across human space over the next month. Each time, the result was the same: human victory. Finally, the collective high command sent a message requesting peace talks. They had underestimated humanity's ability to adapt, to overcome seemingly impossible odds. The peace conference took place on Earth, in the old United Nations building in New York. Ambassador Yoon Park led the human delegation. Though she needed a cane to walk now, her mind remained sharp. Across the table sat the same collective representative she had met 50 years earlier. You tried to contain us, Yoon said as the talks began. You warned us to stay in our solar system. When we refused, you tried to force us. We feared what humans would become, the alien replied, its skin shifting to a deep purple. We still do. Yet here we are, Yoon said. You tried to stop us and we became stronger because of it. The peace treaty took a week to negotiate. Humans would be recognized as equals in the galactic community. The blockade would end. Human ships could travel freely, as long as they respected established collective territories. As Yoon left the conference room on the final day, young diplomat Min Lee asked what this meant for Earth's future. It means, Yoon smiled, that the warnings were wrong. Humanity isn't a threat to the galaxy. We're part of its future. They tried to stop us, but in doing so, they only proved what we've always known. What's that? Min asked. That humans are truly unstoppable when we work together, Yoon replied. Not because we're stronger or smarter than other species, but because we never stop learning, never stop growing, never stop trying. As the sun set over New York, ships from Earth and a dozen alien worlds flew overhead in a celebration of peace. The war was over. The stars were open to humanity at last.